I've played 100 hours of Zero, and this is what I learned. Some people will say Zero is useless. Some people say Zero is a Swiss Army knife that is S tier. But the problem is a lot of people don't use them correctly. And I'm not talking about just getting some random flank kill off his cameras. But Zero can be the glue that holds the team attack together. And if you don't know who I am an ex-Challenger League player. I used to play in the league before Pro League, and I actually use Zero in a few of my games. My team would have me play the flank watch on Zero, and this is what I learned during those times. And before we start, let's try to hit 1,000 likes on this video just for my Zero mains out there. Starting off with the first 25 hours of Zero, this is when I bought him and kind of just played him for fun. During these times, I would decide if I would like the MP7 better or if I like his AR better. Now, in my opinion, I think the MP7 is great. You know, everyone always glazes the iron sights on it. However, an SMG on attack isn't always the best answer. You're taking a lot of long gunfights, so having that damage drop off is not beneficial for you. Even though it does have ACOG and AR at a longer distance, and it just puts enemies down a lot faster. But that is why I have chosen the AR on Zero, because it's just super unique. It sounds cool, it looks cool. But on top of that, back when it used to have the 2X, with how low recoil it has, it just feels like a great weapon, and it does a lot of damage too. So always moving forward, I've always gone with the AR on Zero. However, if you personally feel more comfortable using the MP7, go for it. But along my first 25 hours of playing Zero, I would say I would just play very basic flank watch. Like, you know, yeah, maybe off convenience, oh, I just happen to pass by a room or a staircase that I might get flanked from, so I'll put a camera there. But otherwise, I would just become a mindless person walking around with my gun, and I wouldn't really have any correlation between my Zero cams and my gameplay. But it was basic, you know, if a teammate dies, maybe they can hop on the camera, which we all know no one hops on cameras anymore nowadays because they're too busy hopping on this camera on TikTok. Yeah, I'm looking at you, the person who was scrolling on TikTok and allowed their teammate to get flanked. But my first time, you know, first few matches of playing Zero, I wouldn't have a lot of connection between my cameras and how they would match up with my team's comp, the sight setup. I'll just play him just to think, oh, he's a cool flank watch. So as we move on, I eventually dive deeper into the camera's mechanics. Moving on to 50 hours of playing Zero. Now this is where I would really start to understand how cameras work, and they're not just for flank watch. As we all know, Zero's camera has a tasing ability similar to Twitch, but it has a very limited one, so you have to be careful. You only have about 2 shocks until it takes a very long time to reload. So the first thing I would utilize for the cameras is the infinite tase range. So for example, let's hop into bank. Now let's say I have a Habana or an ace on this rappel right, and there's some bandits on the wall. What I can do is like send a Zero cam up here, and then I can look over here. Looks like we gotta go on the other side a little bit. But getting these camera spots on a lot of maps and utilizing that infinite tase can really help out your team and save EMPs, all that kind of stuff. But one tase from my camera can be the difference of us getting a round win or a round loss. This also goes for default cams as well. You know, sometimes let's say you want to shoot a default cam without being in that room. I can get this one. I can also get the one in E2 over here, and then boom. Now, if a teammate wanted to flank up main, the Zero cams are actually pretty quiet too. They're a little bit quieter than a gunshot. Another thing that I could use for my cameras is, let's say like it's mid-round, and remember we're in like a 3v3, right? And I have no information on where they're at, right? So what I would do is I would just chuck random Zero cams into sight. These don't have to stay alive too long, but I would get on it immediately, just to get a quick scope out of where they're at. So your Zero cams don't always have to stay alive, but they can provide some crucial info without having the drone fast. Now, another thing to get good cameras is to be placing yourself in high traffic areas. Whenever you're on a bomb site, you have to think to yourself, what is a high traffic area? And a lot of the times that can be the flank of your bomb site. And if you don't know where the flank is, think about where your team normally pushes to open up the wall, right? For example, if they're basement and we tend to open up this wall, the other wall, right? Our biggest flank would be either the trophy hatch in the back or the staircase right here. So as long as I prevent any kind of defenders roaming around here, my job is done. Now, this is where I can get very creative with my cameras. For example, if anyone comes down Solar Staircase, I can stick a camera here. Or if anyone tries to flank Dining, right? You can stick a camera there. And you always want to put your cameras in a off-angle spot, similar how you do with Valkyrie cameras. Because obviously, if my camera is like right here, right, it's going to be very easy to see. And when you're on the camera, it emits a light team color. Versus if I'm a defender, I'm always looking at the door and I'm never going to be looking up here. Similar to anyone walking down the staircase, they're going to be looking here, looking at the window here, and then moving on. But the camera's in such an off angle spot that they won't even see if the light is on or not. So I would place my cameras just a little bit before I would kill them. So it would give me about 2 to 3 seconds of reaction time, but I would sit in an area where I can eventually get off my camera without giving the noise of me getting off the camera, and then eventually holding an angle without them knowing. So I can even sit right here, right? I would sit here, and when I see someone walking through the hallway, oh, he's coming over, I would wait and then peek out and kill that guy. So be sure to position yourself somewhere safe, but not too far away where the information would dry out. And I'm telling you, the Zero main, those are some of the most satisfying kills you can get in this game. And this is only a fraction of attack that I always do. And I can tell you right now, it legit has a 99% success rate of blocking the flank. I think I've only died maybe one time getting flanked on this site, and it wasn't even my fault because my teammates were on my cameras. But these two attacks that I'm going to show you next are what I learned in the 75 hours of playing Zero. Now, for my 75 hours of playing Zero, I finally got my routines down. I've decided which bomb sites I like to play Zero on, where I'm at the beginning of the round, the middle of the round, and even the end of the round. And as you guys know, Zero has a buff where he now has 6 cameras. So here's how I would organize my 6 cameras. The first 2 would be used for the flank. This would be, you know, 2 staircases, maybe a hallway. But this is your first like the most important cameras for your team to not get flanked on your push. Then my third camera would be used for some sort of gadget that my team needs cleared in sight. A quick example would be, for example, let's say there's a K-claw that we can't go get, right? I would probably put it in a spot where the defenders can't see it, behind the half wall right here. It's protected by the wall, and I can find the K-claw wherever it is. Also remember, they can also go get collected by Wamai or by Jaeger devices. So if your team needs any burn, you can always just shoot 0 cams to clear. The next 2 cameras for my 4th and 5th camera would probably be just for enemy positions. Now these cameras aren't supposed to be alive very often. Like I said earlier, they're just to get quick information into a room. And the last camera would probably be for a post plant, or let's say I'm last alive and I need my teammates to watch a certain hallway for me. I would just put it somewhere random in sight that obviously I would need it to watch. But that's how I would structure my 6 cameras. Now let me give you 2 examples on 2 of my favorite Zero pushes on these maps. All right, for the first attack, this is also a very important note, but your secondary gadget means a lot, because remember, with Zero, we're placing ourselves in a routine, high traffic area. So that means we're going to need to position ourselves for whatever site setup we're going to be encountering, right, in a position of the map. So here I'm actually going to run claymores on Zero. The reason being is because I don't need hard breaching gadgets for my push, and claymores will actually help out my team more than anything. Obviously I would get the 3 default cams first. There it is. That's 2 default cams. I would watch for spawn peaks, then shoot this one right here. That's 3 default cams down. I will put the claymores. Now a tip for claymores, a lot of people actually do this, but the issue with this one is when they hop out the window, they would typically set the claymore off a little late. But even in the new update, claymores go off a lot faster. But just to be safe that they officially run into it, I would put them just right in front, because enemies always run forward when they hop out the window. You can also put the 1 claymore in the dirt tunnel over there when they drop the ladder, because that's the only escape route they can go down without being dead. Besides the claymores though, I would shoot down the barricade or punch it. But typically early on in the round, I would actually pre-place my camera, hopping it here onto the TV, and then boom, it's hidden in the bushes. And I'll just show you real quick what that looks like. But this is very important, because as Zero, you only rely on yourself for information most of the time, right? So your cameras are your best friend. So once I see that no one is running in the lobby early on, it's actually very common that Cavieras and Vigils they think they're sneaky like this, but this camera actually can see them right there. So it's just the most fun kill where I just break this barricade down and I just pre-fire this. Well, let's say that's good. My first camera, remember, flank cams, right? This is one of the only bomb sites that requires 3. So the first one I would use, take out the default cam if it hasn't already, and I get a very large overview. The second one I do is just toss it right in the middle down there. And then the next one I aim to pierce this wall. So now I'll pierce this wall, see if anyone's flanking, and get the default cam right here. Now I have areas on all of my flanks, and this camera actually works in the post game too. Now remember, my 3rd or my third or fourth camera zero cam would go for a gadget, right? Let's say Hibana needs stuff off the wall. Got you, Hibana. Boom. Then wall is open. And then I have 2 cameras left. Another one I like to do is I like to shoot this one. This one is to actually remember, get enemy positions. This one would be, okay, is anyone playing inside elevators? Is anyone playing in this hallway? Because now, if this hallway is clear, then I can sprint up here fast. Usually there's barbed wire. But as I go up, I have a very low presence. It's because it's just me pushing up here. Now, obviously, there's always a guy playing here, but I would usually come head glitch the windows over here, kill this guy, or maybe even get a free kill in sight around this area. Now, let's say, for example, a bomb is going down. Now, this is where I would use my last zero cam. My last zero cam, let's say, okay, I'm going to 1v2, right? I have no idea if anyone is in CEO. So I would put my camera there, then my dead teammates can call off if anyone's in CEO or the long haul. But as you guys can see, my zero cams cover literally every single flank route that they can come through. And then obviously, whatever my cameras can't see, I would just use my body to watch that one angle. But this zero strat I've been using for years, and I can tell you right now, I always get like 3 or 4 kills every single round when I do it. Give it a try in your ranked games. On to the second zero push I love to do is I would actually grab heart-breaching gadgets now. I think you should run heart-breaching gadgets on zero like most of the time, and also your Gon 6. No point of using your pistol. You're better off using the Gon 6 as is more useful. But I am going to be playing the hatches here. Heart breacher gadgets on zero is so clutch, especially when the heart breacher dies. Zero just fills in everything, you know. Your entry dies, boom. Now you're the entry. You're a 3-speed with a fucking great gun. Your heart breacher dies, you have a heart breaching gadget. Your Ash dies, you got a Gon 6. First thing I do is I shoot the default camera, then I wall bang the default camera there. I shoot this all the way down. Sometimes I actually even wall bang this area because people grabbing the hatch or rotating a trophy might get some crazy back shots from me. You also got to be careful. People love to peek this right here. So while you're shooting this down, I would use the rest of your bullets to like go like this and end up pre-firing that last. You might grab yourself a lucky kill. Now I would get my second drone, put the first one in, use a little bit of that drone boost, check this corner, check the red corner, here, and then leave my drone right here. This is where I just pencil in where my flank cams are going to go. You know, real quick, check the west main. Let's go check kitchen. You know, kitchen is clear. We have dining is clear. Then I leave my drone right here. Now, a thing I like to do is any kind of camera work in Siege, you go by like the 5-second rule, 5 to 10 second rule. Information that you see now only lasts for 5 to 10 seconds, maybe even 3 seconds sometimes, because you never know if someone could flank right as you get off your cameras. Let's say like this and this. Okay, that gives me like 5-second window to sprint in safely, you know, gun not out, put both these cameras down, and then boom. Now someone could be flanking. So you always have to act off your information fast. As you guys can see, these are the cameras I showed you guys from earlier, but I don't think anyone's ever shot these cameras because they're just never able to be found. Now, I will say, if you ever face a soft breach hatch, I would use your hard breaching gadgets first because it's less efficient to use your hard breaching gadget mid-fight than it is to use a hard breaching gadget. So just be careful, don't get wall banged. Back away from it quickly. But now, this is where I would sit. And then obviously from the hatch, I can get any wall denial off. Then I would check my cameras real quick, you know. After the hatch being open, it alerts a lot of defenders to come up, right? That's another thing with zero, is you want to bait your enemies. When you can bait your enemies to come to you, for example, opening up a hatch, just creating a lot of pressure up here, right? Maybe like even shooting your weapon a few times. Let them know that you're up here, but they're going to flank you just to come get you, whoever's on the hatch. It's just Siege player instinct. Oh, someone's upstairs. Let's go flank them because they want to get the kill and stop you. So now they're really going to come down. And they always come through here. It's funny. And then I just sit right here. And then I put on my evil laugh. Boo, ha, ha, ha. And I just fry them. Now the flank guy is gone. Typically, like, two or three of your teammates are going to die. And it's going to be in, like, a 2v2 scenario, right? Now I have 3 cameras left. What do we do next? We clear out a gadget. Let's say there's a K-Claw on this wall. Boom, K-Claw off. I've got 3 cameras left. I could use this one as well. You know, when I drop as well, I can choose a gunfight to take. But otherwise, you know, I can put a zero cam here. I can put a zero cam You know, if there's a rotate, and I can put it in any of these areas that I want my teammates to watch it. Now I can plant here pretty safe, and they can tell me if anyone's coming connector early, if anyone's coming blue early, and all I have to do is just take my gunfight accordingly from there. But that's how I would play Zero from start to finish on this map, and it is insanely fun. So again, on my 75 hours of playing Zero, I mainly learned how to organize my cameras throughout the round. That way I'm not just, you know, just spraying them like darts at the board and just getting random cameras that have no useful information. But that's just the camera work. Atheno, I'm here to learn how to play like a badass Sam Fisher. So how do we do that? Motherfuckers want to be rappelling upside down, knifing enemies from dropping the skylight, some real James Bond, Jason Bourne type shit. And that's what we're going to get into from my 100 hours of playing Zero. And I actually used some of these strategies in my old Challenger League days when I used to compete. All right, moving on to my 100 hours of playing Zero. This is the most important thing I learned. Finalizing everything that creates my playstyle of Zero is obviously bringing everything that I've learned from how to use the cameras, how can they be used more than just flank watch, gadget wise. But once all of that has been done, sometimes you can't just rely on your cameras doing all the work. You know, you want to be a badass with Zero and get a fuck ton of kills. Like a sneaky agent, right? So you need to look for gaps. If you've ever played Overwatch, I used to play this character named Junkrat a lot. And let's just say he doesn't have the most amount of health. He doesn't have the most amount of frag potential. Oh wait, actually it's Reaper, not Junkrat, my bad. Basically, Zero is stronger when the enemy is distracted. If the enemy knows exactly where I'm flanking or I'm gonna try to sneak up behind, it's kind of useless. However, let's say my team is pushing over here, you know, let's say they're doing they're pushing like front side, then I would push the back by myself. I would lurk. I would wait for there to be some sort of sound coverage, or maybe when the enemy's back is faced towards me, and I would open up this hatch pretty early in the round, so that way it doesn't give off a big indicator where I'm pushing. Now I would creep up on the hatch, but get on my cameras early so they don't hear me get on camera. And now let's say, you know, they've got a guy laundry rotate, one guy freezer, and then maybe like one guy playing elbow, right? When shit is going down, that's where I just target the nearest player that has his back towards me. I'm already in sight, and I can kill this guy, then you kill this guy, and I'm just in sight before they even have time to react. Basically, wow, that is my first voice crack in years. Jesus, don't include that in the video, Joey, or you're fired. Basically, you're going to be a flank watch. Not only you're a flank watch operator, but you are the flank itself. You know, what's the saying? I'm the one who knocks, whatever, from Breaking... I don't fucking know what the show is called. But basically, this is any kind of high-level siege principle. It is easier to 2-on-1 someone than it is to just 1v1 them. Similar with crossfires on defense. For, you know, a crossfire, if I'm an attacker walking through here, I have a guy here and I have a guy here, I am not winning. And if I'm a defender and I'm only looking at the front, it's gonna be easy, right? But then if I have no idea that a Zero is gonna backstab me from here, it's gonna be a different story. And the best part is you can create these flanks and cameras all by yourself. Zero is a byproduct of your creativity watching the flank, becoming the flank itself. You just feel so cool. You feel like a badass, you know, you're like Batman. But yes, guys, you guys can copy my Zero strats that I showed you on Bank and Chalet, but the most important thing is that you guys play Zero yourself. You need to figure out your play style, where do you like pushing in the map, and where you tend to get flanked a lot. Because ultimately, by putting in the reps of losing, getting flanked, winning, having a cool kill, eventually your playstyle with Zero is going to boil down to something consistent that you will call yourself a default take. And you get so damn good at it that no one will ever flank you again. But ladies and gentlemen, that is what I learned in my 100 hours of playing Zero. And again, let's try to hit 1,000 likes on this video, and I might do another operator series. Don't forget to get my charm live on my Twitch channel. I'm live every day. And don't forget to like and subscribe so we can hit 1 million subscribers.